think we're live. Yeah, we're live. And we are back for another live episode of the Kingdom. We got a special guest on tonight, and we would like to welcome our listeners, viewers from across this beautiful country of ours, Manitoba, Sask, Alberta, BC, Newfoundland, and wherever the heck you're watching from on Earth tonight. We got the man in the house, Rossco, Shanks Driving Range and Grill, and we'll be back for an intro from drums in 30 seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Kingdom. My name is Drums, and as always, I'm joined by the brothers behind Kngdom, Regan and Jordan Headley. We usually send it up north, see what's going on with our boy Reg about this time, but I think we're going to skip ourselves this week. We're not too important. Actually, screw it. Calling an audible. Boys, how was the Iron Man?
It was good, actually, until we got to the dreaded 16th. We played in that tournament for I don't know how many years now, probably close to 10. And that's the first time we've ever really been victimized by that hole. And it chewed us up and spit us out. We didn't finish the hole. We actually made a pickup 10 on that hole. So that was it was a really good day otherwise, though. It was George, take it over from there. I don't know.
No, that's about it. Everybody played pretty good. We had Patty for the front nine, lost him on the back. Took a max 10 on hole 16. That was really hard to be a part of because we've seen groups go through that in the past, and it's much easier when you're watching it as opposed to living it. You see the ball go down past the hole once, twice, and at that point you kind of just give up because you know that things are over. I mean, we were on in two. That was the worst part. We were just like 8 feet away from the flag. Had a good look at Bert. Well, not really a good look, but we kind of laid it up to about 4 feet above the hole. And I said, Reggie's kind of mad after, but I said, if we have no shot at winning if we miss this, so we might as well just go for it. Or if we bogey it, I mean. So we might as well just go for it. So all four of us went for it. We all missed it down the hill, chipped back up, did it again. And the worst part is like the other team was already done. There's guys waiting at the bottom for like half an hour, and they're just watching you go up and down and up and down. So it
was after we watched them go back and forth for
they didn't take a 10
for a 7.
Yeah.
Or 8. But yeah, there was some tension in the family. We had like a 4-footer and we could have just tapped it to the side and had 4 more looks at it, but George said we have to make a par or a bust, so then we made a 10.
Yeah, so that was we were kind of at that point. We knew where we were at.
Is that the one that went viral, boys?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
16. That's the nightmare one. But anyways, let's get to things here. We got Rossco on the show tonight. Before we do that, we should welcome YouTube and Rumble, because before we started the show here, I saw one comment already on Rumble. So the comment was, what was it now? I better bring it up so I don't mess it up. Comment from Wexkins. He said, whoever thought of Shanks is far beyond a genius. So that's a pretty good start to the show. Another point we should make here is we had Monday Q on. If you haven't watched that episode, it's definitely worth a listen to. But he gave Rossco some props as well for the name Shanks. So maybe before we get started, Rossco, we'll give you an easy one, a softball here. Where'd you come up with the name Shanks? And then just start with that.
Yeah, no, I actually had sent it in the group chat with a few buddies of mine, just asking like, if you were to name a business and it was golf related, what would you name it? And nothing really came up. There's like, Bombs Golf and, teeing it up, and you kind of look down south, right. And see kind of what they've tried to streamline and make popular, and having an S was important to me, obviously, because my last name. So I was like, hey, like S terms in golf. And then it just hit me. I was like, let's go short and sweet. I can get a nice logo out of it, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit. And yeah, no, that's about it.
So you got the S and the H in there as well.
Correct. Yeah,
Gotta love
and
that.
an A. So
Pretty close. It's like
Some
one of those
counts as
things
a
where
letter.
turn Sheared into Shanks, just swap a few letters out of there.
exactly.
No, that's good shit. So Rossco, maybe just give us a bit of background, your past life, where you're at now, and then maybe just start talking about Shanks. What's going on there right now? Give us a little update, then we'll dive a little further into it. But I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, for sure. No, I obviously born and raised in Vancouver. Played junior hockey and wanted to become an RCMP officer, and that didn't really work out, and so kind of moved out here and explored the business side of things with McDonald's, and was all in on that for sure. And then George wanted to retire, and was kind of left to my own devices to try and figure out what I want to do. And so mixing 14, 15 years of business experience, dealing with guests, a number of employees responsible for lots of sales, and mixing that with something I love to do in my spare time seemed like a no-brainer, right? And Brandon is in desperate need of an entertainment hub, something else to do other than go to a weekend game or go to a movie, or and I think that it's the best of both worlds, and hopefully it'll be successful, and people will come and enjoy their time, and yeah, that's about it.
Like that. So at the start of every show, we've been doing a cheers. It's our new segment. We raise a glass for something good going on in the world, around local or otherwise. So let's do Shanks tonight as a cheers, because as a Manitoban who loves golf, to say it was desperately needed would be an understatement, I would say, by a large margin. And we've been asking for it. People have been putting them up, but I think this is going to be kind of the next level of that. So thanks, Rossco. Hopefully we can cheers in a year from now after a successful year, but just for getting things off the ground here, we'll give a nice cheers to Shanks.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Salute. So maybe walk us through what it is. Obviously, we know it's a driving range and grill, but
sure.
for people that are maybe a little bit less familiar with it than we are, what's the setup going to look like? What are we expecting once we walk in the doors here?
First of all, it's absolutely huge. I was on site today and walking through it. It certainly kind of reeks of a destination. I guess starting from the top, it's 20 bay driving range. Full restaurant, open to get licensed here in the next couple of weeks. And if your viewers or listeners have ever been to a Top Golf, it's certainly going to be that environment. The ambiance and the kind of camaraderie of a bowling alley, mixed with golf and some fun games. Gonna have 4 simulator bays too, so we can continue leagues and league play all throughout the winter. And on top of that, and to really kind of put a cherry on top, is I'm getting Top Tracer and Top Tracer technology. I mean, you see it on the Golf Channel. Measures swing speed, launch angle, ball carry, all that kind of stuff. So to kind of mix, like your regular driving range session with a little bit more of a party atmosphere, and also some to back it up. I really think it's beneficial, not only for kind of the first or second time goer swinging a club, but like guys like us, right, that want to go and see some numbers and give yourself an opportunity to improve your play.
How's it going to work? And I'm sure everybody's wondering how it's going to work in the in the -30 winters of Manitoba?
Okay, so you can hit balls up until probably -25 ambient. So the building's blocking the north wind. I was there, early last week. 40K winds, wasn't very pleasant talking outside, and as soon as I got in the driving range bays, it was quiet, no wind. It was just it was a beautiful thing to experience. So blocking the north wind, also have 23-foot long radiant heaters that are going to hang 12 feet above your head. That they're on a timer similar to like a rink timer, right, for heaters, where you turn it on and it expires in an hour. And that combined with kind of blocking the wind, I think you'll have a real pleasant outdoor experience, even in the -20s.
Have you? Because there's another one similar in Calgary, correct?
Correct. Yeah. There's two of them, I believe.
Two of them, and Calgary wouldn't be too much of a difference from Manitoba, so I think they've kind of proved that it is possible to do. It'll be interesting. I think I can't wait to do it myself. Kind of on that note, though, like whenever you start a new business in a smaller community, the size of Brandon, everybody's talking, everybody's saying different things. What's something that you've heard through the rumblings, through the grapevine, maybe a misconception that people might have? It's a pretty good place to maybe clear the air on it or something, in case people are watching this. But what have you heard that people got wrong?
Yeah, the first misconception is that I'm going to have Pro V1s to hit, and as much as that would be
Who's
nice,
dreaming?
that's absolutely not the case. Golf balls are expensive, and I've ordered 100,000 of them. So, aside from that, everything's been relatively on point. I try and get out in the community and kind of network as best I can, and provide proper information. And I guess one misconception too, like I was just there earlier this evening with Goose and kind of gave him a tour after hours. He was thinking it was more kind of enclosed and more of like a kind of half dome type, where that's absolutely not the case. Like we're right in the open. I really can't wait for spring and summer, because I have two big garage doors that can be opened up, and to be able to have the inside and the outside kind of come together. I can imagine him screaming from bar top with guys hitting balls, and I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, that's whenever we think of winter in Manitoba, we think it's going to be -30 or -40 every day, which it's not. I mean, last winter was probably that for 5 or 6 days of winter, I think. So, it might be too cold a few days of the year, but other than that, like this place is going to be perfect for the spring. If you want to go out like right now, like kind of while it's still warm and see the ball go through the air. But I was actually talking to Dad today, and I told him that you were coming on, and we were kind of talking about it. And he was wondering, do you hit balls out into the snow, and how do they get picked up? And is it cleared out every day, or how does that going to work?
Yeah. So like the number one question for the last year and a half has been like, how are you collecting balls in the winter? And like, to be honest, like I have no clue.
Fake egg?
Yeah, like I actually have no idea. So the building,
Minor details.
the building blocking the north wind, like it'll, it's obviously going to blow, right? And so I guess my hope is, I'll give you this stat. So I was talking to Mark Castor from Topgolf a number of months ago, and he had given me a stat where it was something like 97 or 98% of all Topgolf balls don't go beyond 150 yards. Now, that could breed because it's mostly entertainment based, and you got a bunch of newcomers come, and with them only having like a 200-yard outfield, typically with limited flight balls or whatever the case may be, that might be a reason. So if that's the case, I think I'm in luck, because all the snow is going to blow to the back of the range. And, to be honest, boys, I don't really care how I pick up the balls. Like we'll make do, and we'll make sure we get it done. And if that means I bring in a plow and we plow all the snow off to one side and I'm in there picking balls up, I really don't give a shit. So like let's muck it out and let's figure it out as we go. So
I'm
That's a
sure
good
it'll be one of
answer.
those things too that you never really know how you're going to do it until it
You need
happens,
to.
right? Because there's not really any precedents for you to go off of. I mean, Calgary doesn't have near as much snow as we do here.
no,
Maybe they
and
do, but it comes and goes, not as much constant. And who knows? I mean, we might not get a whole lot of snow this winter, so you might be able to just push it out. And then,
yeah, Reg, like I've had multiple conversations with, I mean, even my dad up until like the other day, right? Like we're gonna pick up snow, or how are we gonna pick up the balls in the snow, right? And I've had numerous people kind of reach out to me, being like, hey, like what about this or what about this, right? Like JC the other day is like, why don't you spread a net out, from 50 to 150 yards, sling it 6 feet above the ground, and all the balls kind of filter to one side, right? And all my pickers that I've kind of been researching about and um, kicking tires on, my first question is like, is this proven in the snow, right? Because like if you think like if you think pickers can go through 4 or 5 inches of rough, why can't they go through a couple inches of snow, right? At least that's my mentality, and that's what I'll stick to. So.
Might even be easier, actually. I shouldn't say easier, depending on how hard the snow is, but or how soft it is, I guess, and heavy. But yeah, I mean, it's not easy getting through grass if that thing can get through there. And I guess not snap in the cold. I think that'd be the biggest thing.
Yeah, and like the one I guess idea that I'm leaning on is after the initial kind of first couple of snowfalls where you get a bunch out there, you take a tractor out there, drag a log, right, compact it down, and you can bring a couple water trucks out and make it an ice rink, right, and like have an inch of ice, and the picker can drive on that and buzz around, and everything stays above ground. I mean, honestly, at this point, if anyone has any suggestions, reach out, because like I have no idea, but we're gonna get through it and we'll figure it out.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
it. So how long is it then? You said 150 is kind of typical for what they're hitting at Top Golf. Now, are
Right.
their balls different than normal range balls?
Yeah, so they have a couple different balls. They got like
Because there's
they
more
have
technology
limited
in them, I
flight
guess. Eh?
balls, which is like 70%. So you hit up to 70% of your max, and then they have in chip balls, which I think Reg experienced down in Arizona, where they actually have chips in the balls that calculate, where how far it goes and where it lands and all that kind of stuff. But so my outfield, it was very important to me to have a full. 300 yards is I think the goal of every golfer or every decent golfer that wants to hit 300-yard drives, and so I thought, you know what, let's go with real balls. Let's get another plot of land so I can have a full 300-yard outfield. So fence post nettings or fence posts are in right now. Netting guys coming in 10 days, and I lasered it, and it's close. It's about 297. So.
Nice.
Yeah, it's crazy. You guys should take a drive out there
so there's no limited flight balls that they're just straight up.
No. I
Nice.
went with TaylorMade 3-stripe range balls. EJ hooked me up from TaylorMade in Winnipeg. Well, I wouldn't say hooked me up. I paid full price, but he negotiated. He brokered the deal. I'll put it that way. And it's full regular balls. I think they're dual core. They're not tri-core like a Pro V, but it's they're no Top Flight or Pinnacle where they're cold. They're
The
gonna
XL 2000s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's some bad range balls out there in the world. I mean,
But no,
it's
your buddy's right. Like it looks massive from like the highway.
So
So
like
I can just imagine what you're actually
yeah,
like from inside. Yeah.
my initial first reaction, like when the foundation was in and the walls were up, I had a tour. They had the trusses on, and they were working on the roof, and I was standing in one of the bays, and I was thinking to myself, like, this is way too fucking big. This is way too big. But you know what? Come spring and summer when that place is packed on a Friday and Saturday night, and people are hitting to targets in the outfield that are lit up and the music's bumping, I think I'll look back and say, thank God I went with this big rather than, going with, like a 10 bay where, there's a wait list to get in or whatever the case may be. Right. So.
Yeah. The atmosphere at Topgolf is like, it's
Club.
incredible, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a club. It's sweet. Makes you want to stay there forever and drink beers, which is profitable for you.
I think that's where Rossco would like us to be. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
right.
the goal. Yeah.
I feel like even Topgolf, like we talk about COVID and everything that's kind of grown the game, but I feel like Topgolf has also done a pretty good job of growing the game just by bringing people who wouldn't feel comfortable on the golf course with what you have to wear, how much you have to pay, all the rules and shit like that. Like Topgolf's kind of mayhem out there. So I think, people probably limit this to golfers in Westman, but it's going to be anybody.
Yeah, for sure. And like grassroots, obviously, like the last few years, and like I've said it on your guys' pod a number of times, right? Like it's I really think that COVID is going to pass as the reason why golf is popular, like over Tiger, right? And like you see more kids playing nowadays. You see more families out together. You see way more women in the women's leagues, and as foursomes, it's nuts. And so, I really think that being open and welcome to anybody. I mean, the juniors the juniors clubs just arrived today, and it's awesome. Like I really can't wait for my first little guy or girl to wheel in and. I measure them and see how tall they are, and then they get to take a set out and hit as many balls as they want, right? So,
yeah,
that's
no
perfect.
doubt. So we've got a couple questions here, just from Instagram. Actually, Cam in the chat, he asked if the field's real grass.
Yeah, it is. It's about 3/4 right now. I'm planting seed next spring to choke out, the farmland and weeds and all that kind of stuff. And no sprinkler system or anything like that because we're well water. So I'm going to let the elements determine how green my grass is. And as long as it's healthy and lush and short, let's go.
Yeah, you can paint it if you need.
You probably don't want
nobody's
to be
there
too nice either.
Not like you're hitting shots off it anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Just for show. Well, then you don't have to save some money on cutting it too, or get some goats out there.
If you need some lawn care advice, mine's looking pretty mint right now. So
okay, thanks, buddy.
We got Cuz in the chat. We got Drake, Golf Highway, Stinky Steve as well. Quite the name. And Cammy's in the chat too. And the guy who's not in the chat tonight, which is surprising, Ches. He had a question on Instagram. He wants to know if there he is right there.
Speak of the devil.
Wild timing.
He wants to know if there's going to be an indoor practice facility, like a putting green or something.
So I've looked at the putt views. Like I really think that my simulators are going to complement everyone's short game really well, and to actually have legit putting as opposed to smashing it against a screen. I really think as of right now, there isn't a necessity for it. I'm looking at expanding maybe a couple years down the road to have mini golf. So maybe that's up Chez's alley and he can come participate in that. But, the golf zone simulators, boys, like if you haven't checked them out or tried them, I really urge you to, come and try them out in a couple months.
What kind of putting is it then? Sorry.
Yeah. What's the difference there?
Yeah, so like the golf zone simulator, I've posted a bunch kind of on my IG stories every now and then when I see Golf Zone North kind of posted. But so it's like auto ball retrieval. So you're not constantly going to the screen to pick up your ball. Like there's an auger that brings the tee up out of the ground for you.
Oh,
so,
sick. Like
Maddie and I went into Winnipeg, had to be last year now, and we played 45 holes in under 2 hours. It's so quick. The putting is good. Like it gives you, there's kind of like into the screen, there's a little bit of a ramp, and you mark out like 5, 10, 15 feet to kind of give you a nice visual of, what putting this at this speed would look like for a 5-footer or a 10-footer or a 15-footer, and anything beyond that, you kind of have to guess, right? But it gives you a real it's super user friendly and very realistic, and like the feedback time on the screen is next level, and everything about these simulators are A1. So
I'm muted there.
Sorry, I'm muted there. Sorry. I think that's really important, honestly, and obviously that's why you went with it. But I mean, we've talked quite a bit on here, and you go to a sim that maybe doesn't necessarily pick up the ball flight, or the chipping. You hit it into the screen, and 5 seconds later it pops up and blasts over the green. Or putting, like you said, you have to hammer it in.
Yeah.
Like, I think people would pay. I mean, I would pay extra just to golf something like that. That's actually legit, right? Like, it actually feels like you're golfing. And
Yeah,
technology's come to that point, right? If you don't cheap out, and right?
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And like, like Maddie and I were testing out different shots, right? Because, sometimes the simulator doesn't pick up, your hard draw, or, your hard cut, right? And Maddie's known for hitting this absolutely ridiculous rope draw. And he lined it up, and he executed, and the screen picked it up. And it's like, as soon as the ball hits the screen, you're seeing the trajectory, you're seeing where it's going, as opposed to that lag time, Reg, like you said. And
Right.
yeah, they're just, it's nothing that I've ever experienced before, using these things and trying them out. I was always a huge proponent of the old Shiloh one, right? Like the one that you can play Augusta on, because they actually have the cups, right? Where you're legitimately putting, as opposed to
And you just input how many putts you took, right? On that
exactly, right?
Yeah.
Where this is the best of both worlds. It's brand new technology. There's 3 plates that come out of the ground, so you can have hanging lies, you can have hook lies, fade lies, multiple different camera angles where you can get pictures at impact, and it's just it's A1, like I said.
Hell yeah. Well, you got a big fan in the chat, Rossco. I don't know if you paid somebody to say this or not, but
Perma ban him.
Like a burner account.
He's my buddy from Vancouver.
he ends with good luck getting me to leave. I think there's going to be quite a few people like that. Who, speaking of that, are there memberships and stuff available, or do you kind of got some of the pricing and rates figured out?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of pricing as memberships are concerned. It's tough to kind of open, mid end of golf season and try and get away with charging people for memberships. So I'm going to play it by ear. I want to get as much feedback as possible on memberships. There's going to be 10 custom made lockers there for members that want to leave their stuff for the winter. And so as of right now, no to memberships. However, that may change right away.
Nice. I like the mentality there. Just kind of start and see what happens. Yeah, adjust as needed.
Yeah, like feedback. I mean, working at McDonald's for as long as I did, right? Like feedback is huge, right? And to kind of gather, tidbits here and there, not only from your employees but your guests, and what works and what doesn't, will be valuable later on down the road. So.
I'm sure this aspect will be kind of a fly by the seat of your pants a bit as well, but you mentioned some league play. Yes. Are you anticipating having your own leagues? Or are you looking for guys to bring a league in?
No, I'm looking for anything really. I had talked to Jor about continuing our league, throughout the winter, and as far as how many times per month, or it certainly doesn't have to be once a week like we do in the spring and summer. Even if it's once every couple of weeks, because I have 4 simulators, I can accommodate up to 16 guys at once, right? So or girls for that matter. So yeah, men's leagues, women's leagues, junior programs, and I'm sure that we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but yeah, everybody's welcome.
Speaking of women, and we kind of glazed over this a little bit, but think about 3 or 4 years ago, like on any given night, you might see a girl out there or a woman out there with their significant other golfing. maybe, or tagging along, whatever it is. It seems like now every time I'm on the course, I see at least one foursome of women, and that was something that I just we'd never see before, which is just a good indication, I think, of where the game's at and where it's going to. And so, I mean, we talk about it all the time, but team golf, we're trying to grow the game, and as that grows, everybody involved kind of grows together. So, yeah, I just kind of wanted to throw that in there. But one outside of like being a great social spot for leagues, for guys, girls, everything, and actually being able to see the ball fly through the air as opposed to a sim. Sims are going to be great and stuff, but there's nothing like seeing your ball fly through the air. But what else you got up your sleeve in terms of lessons or pros coming in or whatever that looks like?
Yeah, so I've had a number of questions. Like right off the hop, is like, are you going to have an in-house pro? To be able to teach. And as of yesterday, pleased to announce, Dave Sanaka is going to be doing all his fittings, most of his lessons that aren't on course. Club sales will he'll have to deal with individually, but all his fitting carts are going to be at Shanks. So if you want a lesson, you want to get fitted, you want to see Dave, you're coming to Shanks. So absolutely huge news yesterday that certainly made my day, and being able to sit down with them and kind of preface that I was coming on tonight with you guys, and I said, like, how long do you want to keep this under wraps? And he said, give her. So Dave is obviously, there's no one like him in the Westman area as far as clubs are concerned, fittings, lessons, the whole 9 yards. So to have him at Shanks, not only is it an honor, but it's a privilege, and really looking forward to the business that he can generate for himself, but also word of mouth, and people coming to Shanks because of Dave, Scott, the Golf Brand and team, and everyone involved. So super exciting.
That's awesome. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
That's a big get. Nice work, man. That's unreal.
He was one of the first ones that I went to originally when I had the plan, because I didn't want to step on any toes, right? And he's the golf guy here, right? And so when I sat him down and I said, this is kind of my concept, would love to have you involved. This certainly isn't a me versus you. This is us to kind of uplift the golf community and give Brandon something to do entertainment wise. Like, would love to have you a part of it. And right away, he gave me the green light, obviously, of approval, and he kind of just stayed out of it, right? And there was no real. He was keeping his cards pretty close to his vest, right? And then when I sat down with him yesterday, he's all in. So like I said, super exciting, very, very honored and very privileged to have him a part of the team, and looking forward to, the junior program, like we said, right? Like, if, would love to have him run something like that. The laundry list is endless of what we can do out there. So.
No doubt. That's amazing. Congrats, Rossco. And for Dave too, I think that's going to be a big, he's a pretty busy guy, but I think that'll be a really good place for him to hang his hat, I think, and contribute and just help out and mentor through things. I'm sure you can help him and he can help you a ton, but yeah, go ahead, Rossco.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, he's extremely busy, right? And he's kind of all over the place. So to be able to centralize and kind of hone his energy in one place, especially during the winter time, I think will be awesome for both of us, right? And this is obviously a new industry for me, right? So to be able to kind of have him hold my hand through a couple of things, I think would be awesome. So
yes, no doubt. Yeah,
no kidding. Like, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say he was kind of like the catalyst for Brandon's huge uptick in the popularity of golf too. Getting Wheat City in shape, actually running it like a golf course. So him and his staff, to have them on your team is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah, like you said, you had the previous experience of managing staff, managing people, managing that kind of stuff, and then you add his golf expertise in there. I think it's a combination that's tough to beat.
For sure.
It's exciting, man.
I think too. I mean, the old saying "you build it, they'll come." Like Dave is probably the perfect guy to get there from day one and to help you grow and get started. I think that just the way golf is in this area and the amount of young golfers coming up and the talent, I think this is just going to take it to the next level. And we've talked about this on the show before too. But I think having a place like this is going to just be a no-brainer for the best people in golf to come work at Shanks or to come help you or contract, whatever it looks like, to be a part of that, because it is going to be a hub. And I think that having so many people there like Dave, it's just going to attract more. And I think you'll be surprised with the amount of people that throw in a job application there through the years in the future.
Yeah, I'll just I'll give you one more thing, and I'll leave it at this. Like we were talking about, demo days, right? And how typically only one vendor is able to kind of show up at once, right? Whether it be Cobra or Titleist or TaylorMade or Callaway or whatever the case may be. Well, guess what? I got 20 base, right? So we could have 6, 7, 8 vendors all at once. Everyone showing up, grab a beer, grab a bite to eat. You can test out whatever club you want, and there's numbers right on the screen that back that up, right? And a real opportunity, not only from the club sales perspective, for Dave and Golf Brandon and his team, but getting people in the door and experiencing it that, otherwise wouldn't be able to experience that, right? So.
Plus hitting tee shots or irons where you could actually see where the ball is going, not where the screen is telling you it's going, is huge as well. Because it's really hard to buy stuff from like a place like Golf Town.
Right.
For that reason.
Yeah, and having decent range balls, I think, too.
Right. Yeah, definitely, yes.
And the other aspect of that too is, speaking from my experience, like during the summertime when you can hit balls outside is not when I'm thinking about buying clubs. I'm usually in golf with what I have. It's usually the winter time, early spring is when guys start shopping for clubs and stuff like that. And so I think like Reggie said, having something where you can actually see the ball, it's going to be a no-brainer for these brands to sign up at Shanks and be part of the demo day. It's exciting.
Thank you.
You quickly mentioned the good stuff. How's the menu looking so far?
Well, if you've been paying attention to Instagram, I hired my food and beverage manager, Avery. Multiple years of experience at the keg. We're still kind of fine-tuning things. Went into Cisco a couple of weeks ago, had a menu tasting there, and I think it'll be a combination of in this type of atmosphere, nobody wants to sit down and have a $60 steak, right? Like that's just the fact of the matter. So if I can offer a quality wing, some good nachos, a bunch of shareables that are easy to kind of scarf down in between shots, I think that's really the recipe for success. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel. I'm going to keep it super simple. A single page menu, that's always something that I'm a huge fan of, where you have food on the front and drinks on the back. And we'll just go from there. And again, feedback, right? If something's not working, we'll get rid of it. And if people want something special, we'll bring it in. So.
Well, any Shanks featured drinks? Look at this comment though. This might be straight out of Happy Gilmore. Trisha said, the real winner is the city of Portland. Every time I come here, it gets harder and harder to leave. You guys must put something in the water. Great comment, Trisha.
As far as a Shank drink right now, met with Blackweed last week. We were talking about custom labels. That's a potential. The bigger kind of initiative is supporting local, and if I can do that by having a rotating tap, with Blackweed, a rotating tap, whether it be monthly or bi-monthly or every couple of months with Section 6, I think that's what I'm going to do. I want to drink specifically to, where funds proceed, the Humane Society here in town, because I think that's important. But aside from that, no, not really. No fancy creations as of yet. Anyways,
Not yet. Yeah.
we'll see.
Reggie's. I was just gonna say Reggie's got a nice in with a brewery in Dauphin. So if you want to get some Dauphin clientele, maybe you can rotate that in there. They're pretty damn good. We were there on when was that, Reggie? Sunday night.
Sunday night, yeah.
And if you need a bartender, apparently too.
Like I'm gonna have 10 taps, right? So if Blackweed has one and Section 6 has one, there's certainly lots of room to go around. So
that's pretty cool.
That is really good. What's kind of the toughest or most challenging part of launching it all?
Oh boy, I mean, it's kind of a year and a half in the making, right? Maybe a little bit less than that. Just the constant, day to day of making sure I don't forget anything. I think is the most important. Office looks pretty clean, from this level, but I got some papers around and some checklists that I'm constantly going through on a daily basis and making sure that I have all my bases covered, because I don't want to come opening day or a week before and be like, oh shit, right? Like I forgot a really big piece. So yeah, I think that's it, Reg. I mean, aside from just I constantly lose sleep at night on how operations are going to be and what the day-to-day looks like for the management team and waitresses and waiters and bartenders and my my staff, that but I just need to relax, right? And it's an ever kind of revolving door and an evolution where just trying to get better than yesterday and trying to set a really good first impression, because I think that's key.
Yeah, managing a couple balls in the air is a big part of it. Do you have any suggestions by chance on apps or different things you use? Because that's something that I have issues with too. But I'm always looking for stuff. It's yeah. You got anything?
I don't typically use an app. I'm real old school. Like when I used to do my manager schedules, it was pencil and paper, and my inventory counts were all paper and pen, and that's kind of just the way I am. Calendar on my phone is probably the most utilized app that I use as far as organization, just with the never ending meetings and meetings for meetings and site visits and phone calls that I need to make. But aside from that, from 7:30 until 5, my ringer's on, as loud as I can. And after that, I'm kind of home free typically, unless anything pops up. So just being available.
Yeah. I'm the same way. My problem is I just have papers everywhere though. But I mean, when I type something into my phone, whether it's in a Evernote or whatever it is, it's usually the last time I look at it. So the nice thing about paper is it's here, you can kind of see it, and I just need something to organize all these papers. But anyways, just kind of we'll stick with the business stuff here for a couple more points. We'll talk about the future, and then we got some rapid fire at the end. But what's been the most surprising part of the whole journey so far? Like what's something that kind of stands out in your mind that is either unexpected, that you didn't really sign up to do, or anything like that?
The money. I mean, it's a pretty easy answer, right? But
yeah, we're only 8% inflation. You should be able to handle that, no?
Yeah.
You don't have to give like particulars, but was there like a piece of equipment or anything that was like, holy shit, I was way off on what I was thinking there?
You know what? My kind of pre-budget was kind of bang on, drums. It was the extras that you don't account for, right? Like it's the Manitoba Hydro installation. That's the 5-figure amount there. It's the liquor cabinet that just arrived today that I need to put together. That costs $500 or $600, right? To lock up spare bottles of booze. it's all the little things that add up to a really big amount that, like I had 6 figures penciled in, like 100,000 for, extra expenses or things that, aren't foreseen. And thankfully, obviously, I haven't reached that threshold yet. And I pray that I don't, but I think that's been the key. Just staying on top of things, right? And making right decisions. And it doesn't have to be, the absolute top of the line, right now, right? I can always reinvest later on down the road. Like, let's just get open and start making some revenue. And if we need to upgrade, then we upgrade. So.
We forgot to touch on before. I saw that you had a picture of a pretty nice looking bus or a van on Instagram.
Yeah.
Is it going to kind of be picking people up wherever? Is there going to be a central spot within the city?
No idea.
No idea.
My
sorry to put you on the spot with that.
My initial response is centralized pickup and drop off. I heard City Hall you can park there for free. So that might be a place. Corral Center. You want to go to Houston's? Like, let's go. I'll drop you off. But I think that like the most important part, Reg, is like it's got 10 seats, and so typically parties are going to be 4 to 8 maybe. So it's able to kind of fit everyone in, and another option that I have is we can tag your clubs and keep them overnight in the back equipment room. They're not going to go missing. They'll be locked up. So if you don't want to haul your clubs to go out, to party or go to a buddy's place or whatever, they'll be there, and you can come pick them up, the next day.
That's a massive feature, actually.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Or even a cab.
Banged up.
Hard to get 4 bags and 4 guys into one cab, right?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I certainly want to, the van not only was for convenience, but it was also for kind of social responsibility, right? Like, it is a little bit out of town, right? Don't want people drinking and driving. Like, that's the last thing I want. So to kind of add to a feature, it being, quote unquote destination, even though it's, 5 minutes down the road, give them that option, right? Where I can come and pick you up, I can drop you off. And if we can't, and you want to take a cab to and from, we can hold on to your clubs. Or you show up and you don't have clubs and you use the entertainment sets in bay, and you have a time and you leave no responsibilities. So,
have you tried those clubs out yet?
The junior sets arrived today. The other sets have not arrived.
Okay.
I have tried them down at Top Golf. Colby and I just went down to Minnesota. We went to go on a work trip to Top Golf and test out their stuff, and saw real no difference in between the men's and the ladies. They were both fairly whippy. Both, coming from me,
Right.
they wouldn't be whippy to a beginner or someone that wants to come and try the game. So the thing that I found weird, they don't have any lefties, and so like they have lefties in the back, and so they bring out kind of bags, and so I saw no difference between the men's and the ladies. It's either an extra stiff or a stiff or a regular. Like the gap isn't huge, right? So I thought it was important to have both righties and lefties in bay. So that's what I went with. And a lot less clutter in the back with lefties bags kind of hanging around. And, lefties, like, Canada is kind of the hub for lefties, right? And Manitoba is the hub of Canada for lefties. So I thought it was very important that the lefties were represented. So
it's kind of crazy on that note how many lefties there are nowadays. I've never played in so many groups that we outnumber the righties. Like, I can't remember ever, and it seems like it. I guess it's because I always golf with Stuart or my dad, and we're all lefties. But it's just there's a lot more lefties than I remember in the past now.
I agree. Yep.
Same here. I played in a couple groups this year where we're all lefties. Even the other day with Drake and Steve, 3 lefties. Just
guys
it
are
was,
hitting,
it
you
was
guys are
unheard
hitting
of.
from the wrong side of the ball.
Well, Reggie can hit from both pretty well, so he's thinking about switching one day. Hey,
Yeah, more and more every round.
okay, let's jump into. What did we miss anything here?
Can I just give a list of the local companies that I'm using? Is that
Yeah, we're gonna ask
Absolutely.
what's some of the local initiatives and companies you're working with at Shanks.
Yeah, just a quick plug. Got a huge list here. One of the main initiatives, early on was, during COVID, it was all support local and, get out and support your small grocery store. And I saw how much of an impact that was, right? And being able to give back through McDonald's to Westmount Dreams for Kids and Ronald McDonald House and all that kind of stuff. The importance of giving back. Okay, so just to name a few: Royal LePage, Keller Developments, and all of their subcontractors are obviously local. Westman Lumber Supply. I got my logo done by an independent young lady named Tegan Fleming. Did a fantastic job. It's incredible. Attaboy. Leach Group, obviously Golf Brandon, Westman Embroidery, Progressive Sanitation, Grand Valley Restaurants, GVC Limited, Cardinal Signs, Dusty Woodworks, Guardian Fencing, Westman Automation and Security, Ideal POS is out of Winnipeg. RF Now was getting installed today, so there'll be my internet supplier. And then obviously Black Wheat and, Section 6. So I think that's a quick count. That's like 20 places that, encompass 98.5% of my project. Really, really proud to be able to, give back to the community and use local people to, build a building and everything involved. So,
cheers to that. Second or third cheers of the night for that. That's awesome, Rossco.
Thank you.
That doesn't happen too often these days.
Yeah, it's usually find the cheapest you can find and go with that.
China.
Cheapest and quickest.
Yes, no doubt. No, that's good, Rossco. It's
Although, have you seen how quick those boys put up like bridges and interstates over there?
where over there.
It takes us 17 years to put up one bridge in Brandon, and they put up like, massive tunnel systems in 2 nights. China.
It is hard to believe, actually.
There's
They
3D
got
printed bridges though.
They got some things figured out over there.
Yeah. They're 3D printing houses over there, I think.
Yeah, it's not quite the same here.
Let's talk about the future of Shanks. And then we got some we got to fix your divots tonight. And then everybody's favorite part, the rapid fire. So, future of Shanks. You kind of talked about the mini golf and a few other things, and it sounds like there's a bunch of things still in the air. Could go either way. But in 5 years from now, if everything goes as planned, do you have any plans for anything else outside of the current situation, or what are you thinking with that?
I mean, the obvious answer is expansion, right? And going into number 2 or number 3, and continue on that way. It's been super rewarding to kind of be in at a ground level and really kind of have my hand in everything from the design to what kind of food to what beer we're serving. That was awesome, and it continues to be awesome. Yeah, it's potentially mini golf. I know there's a need for some batting cages. Pickleball courts, pickleball is kind of blown up the last couple of years. I only have so much property to deal with, but can certainly expand a little bit. But I think top of mind is getting number 2 open. Not sure where, but probably won't be Winnipeg.
Often it is.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because if you can get through Manitoba, you can probably get through anywhere in Canada. So I think that, even like you said, starting from zero, from the ground level, you can kind of go through it all. Like even as a franchisee, like you guys had with McDonald's. Like you knew it like the back of your hand, but you weren't there to start it, right? And there's nothing like quite like that in terms of like getting to go through it and teach people and starting small in that way.
Yeah, it's, McDonald's was, here's your furniture package. You get a couple of different colors to choose from. This is all your kitchen equipment. These are your till systems. These are your headsets, right? Like you had no options, right?
This is how you make a cheeseburger.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like a standardized procedure all across the board, all over the world, right? And so to be able to kind of pick and choose and really, like pick out my furniture, for example, right? Like, BBI, who I didn't mention on this list, Jordy and I flew out to Toronto to actually go to a factory called Borgo, little Italian guy that owns a store. And it was an incredible trip, right? To be able to see exactly where your furniture is coming from. It's not coming from China, right? Like it's not coming from anywhere other than Italy or in that shop in Toronto. And it like everything's legit, everything's real. Got to meet, all of his staff and had a great time. So it's little things like that make this, come opening day, I think I'll kind of look back and cherish and really, it's super rewarding for sure.
I was gonna say too, like you were thinking expansion and things like that. And I think it's kind of cool. Like obviously there's quite a bit more risk starting your own brand from scratch and being involved in everything. But I feel like the reward is so much more if it goes, when it's successful for you. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
not making money for someone else. Like this is like your project. You're not a
Yeah.
franchisee. Like
Yeah.
this is you. This is your
Mine
brand.
from the ground up, right?
You decide where things go next, not somebody else telling you where they go next, which is incredibly rewarding, probably, I can imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
And for those just joining us who maybe missed the intro to the show tonight, one person on Rumble, Wexykins, he said, whoever thought of Shanks is far beyond a genius. We had a nice comment from Rossco's buddy in the chat. And Monday Q also gave Rossco props for his brand. So in this day and age, that is a big part of it. I mean, you can have the furniture, you can have all the other stuff, but having a brand that people recognize, that they like, I think Shanks is awesome. So I think you got the first part right, Rossco.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Oh, don't forget to shake, everybody. I don't know how I'm turning that off
every week.
Rossco, is there anything like one single thing that you're looking forward to, like being most excited about? Is it the junior lessons or junior golfers getting out there? Is it getting leagues out there, or is it just kind of the overall? Let's get this open, and then I'll take my my happiness at that point.
Like the last number of years, I've been the director of Cubs for the Tamarack and seeing the little guys and girls go out there and have a great time. And the junior program will absolutely be kind of top of my priority list for sure. Once we get it off the ground, and I think for sure, that certainly has to be, top, 1A. Obviously, really looking forward to getting open, right, and earning revenue and start paying bills and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's I think just the overall being open for people to come in and say hi and hit balls and where I can walk up and down the tee line and high five guys and to talk to people and introduce myself for people that don't know who I am or anything like that. So yeah, junior program for sure, and then 1B is just let's get open.
Let's go.
Speaking of that,
question on everybody's mind.
Okay, so I booked my first Christmas party for December 16th. Now there's a contingency in that where if I'm not open, they're willing to move to January, and I really think that certainly can be brought up later on down the road as far as functions and that kind of stuff. But really hoping for the first week of December. That's where I'll have friends and family come out. We'll dry run the menu. We'll dry run the technology. everyone wants to hit balls and order a drink and have some food and put the waiters and waitresses through the paces, put the ball kids through their paces, and see what the management and kitchen staff really have to offer. And so looking at first week of December, fingers crossed. I don't know how many times I've talked to people and it's, like, well, how's the construction going? Like, what have the hiccups been? There's been zero hiccups. Like they're on pace. Testament to Billy and his killer team. Yeah, exactly. Knock on that as hard as he can. Levi is the foreman out there, and they've done an incredible job. So first week of December, let's go.
Woo!
Oh yeah, baby.
What an unreal Christmas party venue. I didn't even think of that until you said that.
Sure, I forgot to mention that's your birthday gift. I asked Ross if he could open up for your birthday.
December 8th. It'd be a good place for a party. Birthday parties, Christmas parties,
parties.
Yeah, like business functions, you name it. Gender reveal parties are huge now. What better to have a dad kind of smoke a golf ball that's filled with blue or pink, off dog tracer. But
are you gonna have some balls available for that, ready to go?
I can pre-order. Yeah, I can.
Will they have the top tracer technology?
Yeah, you'll be able to see it go 3 yards, Reg.
That's not far off from some of the drives I've hit this year.
Well, I'm not a huge gender reveal fan myself, but I think that hitting a golf ball at Shanks would be pretty high on the list compared to shooting a rocket up your ass or whatever the hell that other guy did. There's been some serious mishaps in the gender reveal world.
Holy God. That's not what I was expecting at all. Shoot a rocket up your ass.
That's why it's the Kngdom. You never know what the heck's going to happen on here. But I will say I didn't have any whiskey tonight just for the folks at home. So kept things fairly under control tonight. We'll do a quick fix your divots here tonight, and then we'll get to the rapid fire. So I'll give Reggie a bit of a break here from the Prairie Scratch Tour. But that's who sponsors this segment every episode. So big shout out to the Prairie Scratch Tour, Jordy, and I don't know who else organizes it, but Jordy's been doing a heck of a job.
Ben Bandura, I believe.
Who is it? Sorry,
Ben Bandura.
Jordy and Ben. Jordy's been playing in them too. I think he's had some success even this year. So if you're a golfer in Manitoba or Saskatchewan or anywhere and want to have some competitive golf, Prairie Scratch Tour is a place to be, and I think that they're just going to get bigger and bigger through the years as we go along here. So, Drums, what's the Fix Your Divot tonight by Prairie Scratch Tour? Don't tell him he's on mute. You're still on mute.
No, I got it. So tonight's Fix Your Divot actually comes from Jordy himself, and his pet peeve is punched greens.
Ooh, yeah.
There's a method to the madness, and the end result is always something good. But while they are punched, they are extremely rough. It's hard golfing, especially when you don't get the notification. Tee off on the first hole, get to the first green, and it's a shit show. It's a massacre on the green, and you're wondering, why did I just pay a full price for this? They got you. Happens a lot around here this time of year, unfortunately. But I think probably everybody's in agreement. The end result is needed, but that kind of first day or two after they are punched, it's an absolute nightmare to golf on. I do like when courses do it 1-9 at a time. That's kind of the only way to do it, in my opinion. If you're doing 18 at a time, you're a psycho. Give us a bit of a break.
You guys got thoughts on that?
I don't have a whole lot, honestly. It's one of those things. It has to be done. From what I've heard from from the pros around here, Scotty, in general, how to keep the Gilbert greens so mint. He'd actually like to go earlier in August than they do, but they did them, and it was hard to tell really. Hey, George, the Ironman, like they weren't punched that long ago, and they're kind of already filled in. So it'll make for a really good set of greens in the spring. I don't know. I don't mind it. I don't play enough anymore. I probably don't play on them as much as other people do. So I have a tough time. If I hear the greens are punched, I probably just don't go golfing now.
Same as Oak though, Rossco? I think they punched them 3 or 4 days before, and drums for the blue chair, and you could I don't know who does theirs, but I know Neepawa, actually, they have their own machine there, and they do Gilbert and a few other courses, I think, in the area. I don't know who does Oak, but yeah.
Okay, so like I don't mind them punching the greens, but like the goose size holes,
yeah. What's with those?
Size craters are, sorry, but I don't think that needs to happen. And I like at Wheat City this year, and not to shit on their team because they do an awesome job, and the course has come a million miles from where it was.
Yeah.
But like the sand that they used to top dress the greens this year, like it was like full of rocks, basically. Like it banged up my like mallet head like pretty good. It's black, so it's easy to get banged up. But like the first couple of days out there, I was like, what is going on here? So they should use that for the bunkers, and then they should take the bunker sand out and use that to top dress the greens.
I don't know if there's good sand around these parts. Like I think everybody has that same problem when they are top dressing. Rocks, like it's just tough. Not actual sand, it's just gravel pit.
Oh yeah, it's wild.
You know who had phenomenal bunkers, who definitely deserves a shout out? These guys were actually the runner up for the cheers tonight, but Neepawa. Wow, like those bunkers are, aside from Gilbert and Neepawa, are the best bunkers in Manitoba, I think. Like,
when did you play there?
Yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where Drake and Steve and I went.
They're soft, hey, George? Like
so soft.
Yeah, it's like a synthetic sand or something. Like it has to be. Like
Gilbert's were really good like 5 years ago, but they need a redo, an update.
Yeah, like they were.
That was the only good thing about White Bear in Kenosha too.
Oh yeah, White Bear is 6 sand. That's like imported or something though, I think.
I think they bring it from Cali or something.
Okay, well, shout out to Neep, shout out to Jordy, shout out to the Prairie Scratch Tour. Have you played in that Rossco yet?
No, I haven't played an event there. No. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how much time I'm gonna have kind of next spring and summer. So I think my competitive golf stuff is gonna wind down here. Not a huge fan of the Golf Manitoba events and them taking 6 hours and course setup and the whole 9 yards. So I may buzz into one of those, 1 or 2 of those maybe instead. And
yeah, a little dagger.
Hey,
just a little dagger. no raised voice or anything. Just a quick dagger.
Should give a shout out to before we get to the rapid fire. Shout out to Colby. You guys had a pretty good time in Minnesota.
Yeah, it was awesome. Road trip, him and I drove the whole time. Shout out Cuz. Thanks, bud. Yeah, 8 hours down. It was 9.5 back. Slight detour and some fog. The course that we played, Mendakota Country Club, was out of this world. Private club, greens were at 12. Undulations like crazy. Like 5% slope was kind of the norm. I got a yardage book ordered in, and like the slopes on these greens were crazy. It was 7,001 yards. Played a practice round. It rained about 2 inches the night before, so I was playing 7,500 probably. So long. I had over 300 into 3 of the 5 par 5s as my second shot. Like it was a big boy golf course for sure. And then to add kind of insult to injury, come the USGA event, we went down for the 4-ball championship. I was looking at the pin sheet the night before. 16 and 18 greens were 7 or less from the edges, and just like nothing here even compares. Does not come close. So,
man.
you know, like we're playing against, you know, ex-college guys. There's a group in front of us, looked like a homeless guy. He was like 65 years old, huge beard, visor, shirt untucked. He had a Shinnecock tag, like mid-am qualifier. And like he was in the group in front of us, and we started off 10. It was a drivable 4. It was like 301 yards, a little bit downhill. You just had to carry. It was like 265, 270, like the bunker. He absolutely laces it off one. Like, I'm like, holy shit, this guy. Like, don't judge a book by its cover, because this guy was phenomenal.
Was he using cookies for his ball markers too?
Yeah, no doubt. That's
Ritz
exactly what
crackers.
he reminded me of. Just the homeless guy from Happy Gilmore. So good.
So how far do you think how much did they have to scratch and claw to get into the 7,000s there? Like 7,001 yard, like they're probably pushing back just as much as they can, squeezing out of that property, just to get it into the 7,000.
You know what? Like some of the tee boxes and stuff, like in the practice rounds, we're like, okay, like this isn't that bad, right? Like this par 4 or this par 5's, 603 or whatever it was, like, still long, right? The 9th hole, for example, like we're going around and the USGA has pink paint to mark hole locations and where the tee boxes are. And so we get to 9 and like we can't find where this tee box is. So I was like, well, Colb's, chances are like they just stopped for the day or whatever. Like it might have got too busy. So then we get to 12 and 12's going this way and 9's going this way. They stretch the tee box out another 65 yards on an already 600-yard par 5. And I was like, oh, like we're going to be so in one tomorrow. Like this is incredible. So
like, so you found 9 when you're on 12.
Hey?
You found it when you're on 12?
Yeah, 12 tee box teeing off. It's like it had 9 with an arrow pointed this way and then 12 with an arrow pointed that way. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Wild.
Yeah. No, it was good.
Yeah, Colby doesn't seem like he'd be a driver. He's more just like a hang out in the passenger seat and chill out.
DJ.
How long did he nap? That's got to be a good nap. He's a napper. Got to be.
You know what? Yeah. I was going in and I was thinking to myself, like, hey, especially like on the way back, because like our tee time was at 11:10. You had to walk. It was 30 degrees. Like I had to put a towel over my arms while I was walking so they wouldn't get burnt. Like it was nuts.
And this was last week.
Yeah, and it was last Monday. And so like on my way back, I was like, okay, like he didn't nap on the way down. Fair enough. Like on the way back, he's out cold, 100%. Stayed up the whole time. I was very proud of him. He kept me company. So yeah.
Not a boy, cuz.
Cuz coming in the passenger.
Well, let's roll right into rapid fire because I put one of Colby's questions in here from Instagram as one of the rapid fires. So his question is your dream foursome. He said local, but let's do local and in general. You can have 2 answers here. So his question was local dream foursome in brackets, Zoc, etc.
Zoc the Rock. Okay, so in general, I mean, Tiger has to be in there. Arnold Palmer for sure. Probably like a Sam Snead would be number 4. Local, Halderson has to be in there. Local legend, PGA Tour pro. Dave would be awesome. Played with Jared Crane this year in the Western. That was awesome. Also ex kind of mini tour player, tour card anyways. He was good. Yeah, that's probably it.
Nice.
Is there going to be nasty good, eh?
Oh yeah, so good.
Oh my god. Like
he makes golf look easy for sure.
I didn't realize he played like mini tours and stuff.
His buttery smooth swing, like effortless.
Gross.
Can move it both ways. And he's just great on the course, like camaraderie wise, banter wise. he was extremely hungover the morning. Like he didn't get in until
Yeah.
5 the morning of the Western Open. And yeah, he hit, you guys obviously know Weed City. So number 5 fairway, right? It's kind of got like that tucked green up there. He hit a wedge onto 8 green. Just a total shank. He came over and he leaned on the cart and he's like, "Sorry, boys, I'm not usually like this." And Colby and I are like, "Yeah, no shit, man. Like it's fine. Don't worry about it."
Did you say good for the brand?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good for
Good for the brand, babe.
Another story. While we're on that note of the Western, you and Colby took her home this year, and Colby wanted to know what was a better feeling, winning that or the blue chair.
Oh man, blue chair was so much fun. To be able to be a captain and that Ryder Cup style format, and to kind of see it all go down on the par 3 while everyone was around the green, and that was super cool. Yeah, the Western though, like competitive golf, right? Or somewhat competitive, new-ish event. They're trying to bring it back. Any kind of team golf thing that you can ship is really good. So yeah, 1A, 1B. I think there's no real clear winner. The belts were awesome. Being able to go bogey free and are still bogey free, playing scramble events this year. Him and I are. I think it's pretty cool.
That was a good event. We should give a shout out to the Western Open. I think Patch had a pretty big part, and I don't know if he's a listener of the pod or not, but good first year back. It sounds like they're going to do her again next year. So more of those events, the better. Anytime you can get the kind of the best golfers in the area out for, and in that format too, like a scramble is pretty cool. So
for sure, yeah, team golf. Love team golf.
Me too. Alex says, by the way, you guys can thank me later for getting Rossco into golf. Once I told him to get those Nike slingshots, that was it.
It's a true story.
Those slingshots are wild. Nike came out with some wild clubs, eh?
Yeah.
The easiest shit ever to hit. Remember, Putter had slingshots, right? And he was unreal as soon as he started.
Yeah. Well, you could hit those things like a pitching wedge went like 200 yards.
Yeah, Rip had slingshots.
They were awesome.
He hit his 5-iron like 250 yards.
Good for the ego.
It's a big cavity back. Like he would just hammer it, man.
Okay, let's keep going down the line here, boys. What's next?
What's your lowest round ever?
Mine, I shot 64 last year at Weed City. Had a putt for a share of the course record on 18, lipped out, and I bogeyed 17.
Damn.
Ooh.
17's a tough one, though.
We were playing as a 5-some, and we had 30 birdies after the first 9. Like all of us were just buzzing.
That was last summer?
It was last summer. Yeah. I was playing with Ev. Ev was 7 under, standing on 15 as well, I believe. He's a lefty. He blocked one left OB. I actually ended up holing out from 104 on 15 to get me to 6. Birdied 16 to get to 7. Yeah, couldn't just left it on the high side on 18 for eagle.
Evan's got to know better than hitting even flirting left as a lefty on 15. You just throw her out there as far as you can go to the right.
You got 300 yards right. Yeah.
Which one's that?
What's the best?
Towards the picket fence in the back?
Yeah, the furthest west hole.
Yeah.
Right.
Doug Murray's backyard there. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What's the best golf advice you've ever received?
It's so cliche, but I think one shot at a time is probably like right up there, right? And there's been a bunch of tournaments where I either miscut or I'm kind of within shouting distance at the top, and one stroke is all it takes. And like you can never win the tournament on a Thursday or Friday or the first round or the second round, but you can certainly lose it. And I've fallen victim to that way too many times where like just this last Grail, I think I was 2 or 3 under, getting to 8, send one over the highway on 8, with 5 wood, not even with driver.
Ooh.
And it ended up making double, completely tilted. This coming off my, second place finish the year before, and got super close. I 3-putted 18 to not get into the playoff. And so right then I was like, hey, like my tournament's over. End up doubling 9 like an idiot. And then I'm, like right there come Sunday morning, right, where I'm 1 or 2 out of the final group, and I can kind of at least keep tabs on everyone. And I think, keeping a level head and really taking it one shot at a time. It's certainly easier said than done. I'm the first one to admit that, but try to keep your head on straight.
That's what I was just going to say. As soon as you think you get in your own head where you think the cut's going to be, or where you think
it's over,
the cutoff of the championship is going to be, and you start trying to chase that number, and you make a couple bogeys, I mean, you might as well just head back to the clubhouse, because
yeah, I mean, like this year at Tamarack, like I was 1 under after the first day, kind of right in the middle of the pack. I come out, I'm 4 over through 5, and I'm like, this is
start trying to chase it.
Yeah, like this is just not good, right? Like I ended up playing the back first, thank God. And then ended to go, I think I was 2 or 3 under on the front side, my last 9 to kind of fall in middle of the pack, right? Like I think I was 10 seed. So I mean, like that just shows you, right? Like it's certainly, it's 1 or 2 shots away, and don't panic. I had Colby in my ear the whole time, like just relax, like it's fine, don't worry about it.
You need that though, because if you don't have that, that's when your own head takes over, and it's so easy just to get caught up in it, and it's really difficult in that moment, and that's where you need it the most, just to remind yourself one shot at a time.
Yeah.
But that's where it actually matters, because when you're playing good, nothing else, you don't even think about anything.
I think that's where, like if you're fortunate enough to have a buddy on the bag, right? Like I had Goose come out and caddy for me this year at the Grey Owl. I'm second to last pairing. So the goal was, go out and 4 or 5 under on the front, and you never know, right? And teeing off on 15, I think I was only one shot off the lead. Like those guys had pulled away like crazy. And when I saw Thomas on the 8th tee box, he had said, like, I think Steve, Steve was like 5 under, Cal was 7 under. And I was like, okay, well, like I'm sitting here at 2 under, like there's no way, right? Like I'll just pack it in. And then sure enough, like on 15 tee box, I'm 1 shot off the lead, right? And being able to talk to, someone that, you don't necessarily have to talk about golf the whole time. And Goose and I certainly don't, or Colby for that matter. It's, talk about life, talk about the business, right? Like get your mind not thinking about your next shot or not what happened previously. I think it's huge.
Yeah, no doubt. Quickly before we keep going here, Ches said, what's the Western and where is it?
Western was a 36-hole 2-man scramble event. It was held at Weed City. They had a shuttle bus to and from to go to the sin bin. Like it was put on by J&G, in conjunction with CNC Rentals. I think Jordy Trotter was a huge part of that as well. And the Western used to be, I believe, 36-hole stroke play individual event, kind of pre-COVID or a number of years ago. I played in it once. Back when I kind of first moved here, and I wasn't, kind of just starting out in my golf ventures. But so yeah, 36 holes, 2-man scramble. You got flighted after day 1, and go as low as you can.
It was a good time. That's for sure. Sinbin too. That was the first time I'd ever been there before. Didn't even know that existed. They got a pretty cool spot there, actually.
That's at the rink there?
Yeah, there's a little patio right outside the rink.
Yeah, just out back. A couple of outdoor TVs and patio furniture and stuff. It was good.
What is the best investment you've ever made in golf or otherwise, or both?
Probably
Shanks.
in golf. I just got fitted for my driver last year. It was the first time I got fitted for a driver ever.
Yeah?
Kind of just I I was on the range at Taurus, and Titleist was out, and I've always kind of been a Titleist guy for whatever reason. My first real set of clubs, aside from the slingshots, were an old set of AP2s that my dad brought back from Palm Springs for me, and I just kind of fell in love with the brand, and it's more of a players club, and they don't market and fabricate things kind of on a every 3-month basis, and getting fitted for the driver was good. Got a new putter last winter. It's sick. It's the same one that Bryson uses. It's not the arm lock, it's the regular length. That was also a good investment.
Is it a $500 shaft like Waters has in his?
No, it's not. No.
Is it a Cobra?
No, he's got a lab putter shaft.
Oh, lab. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, what's your putter?
Oh, it's a SICK, like SIK.
Oh, I thought you just meant it's a sick putter.
No. Well, it is that too. Yeah.
Both. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the common answer we've got from. We usually throw rapid fire out there at the end, and almost everybody said fitted or lessons, and I've done neither of those things in my golf career, so maybe I'll explore that one day.
Yeah, Jor, like I haven't had a lesson either. Tried to get one with Dave way back in the day at Shiloh. It started pissing rain. He said, "I'm not doing this out here." I said, "Okay, sounds good." Never revisited after that. I did, however, this last time I was down south. Just had a pro at PGA West kind of look at my swing and just provide any input that he may have, and started out as a 7-iron with a couple of swings, and then we moved to a couple of wedges and a couple of drivers, and he just pointed out some alignment stuff with my shoulders and feet, and that was pretty much about it. And started drawing the ball again, which was nice. That's about it.
Wouldn't recommend a lesson.
No.
Well, maybe I'll get my first fitting this spring at Shanks. I'm in the market for it. I just haven't been able to do it yet, but I'm hoping to one day be fitted for some clubs.
No, I'm checking daggers at TaylorMade. I love TaylorMade. I have their 5-wood and their hybrid in my bag, so relax.
Chaz is always in the chat defending TaylorMade. I mean, I'm a TaylorMade guy too, so I can't.
We're all TaylorMade, yeah, pretty well.
Yeah.
Chaz, you missed it earlier. I said I had 100,000 range balls from TaylorMade, so take it easy on me.
Yeah. Okay, to piggyback off that one, what's the worst golf investment you ever made?
Has to be like those stupid training aids that you see.
Yeah, like what are we talking here?
Like I had the ball one that you wrap around your neck, and it's like a beach ball.
It goes down.
Yeah, and it kind of just hangs off your neck like a necklace. I saw Rory using it on the range. I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna get that. Completely screwed up my swing. Like putting aids and stuff, can be really good. I bought one off of I think Amazon. It's the laser. Pop it on your shaft. It just falls off. It's trash. I don't know. I'm trying to.
Do you guys remember those ones that had like the hinges? So as soon as you got out of line with your club, it like broke.
Didn't Gary Brown have those?
Yeah, we used to have one at the course. Yeah. So dumb.
Did you guys ever fall for the old balance bracelet scam from Source for Sports that they were slinging for 10 years?
One season I had,
a piece of rubber.
I had one.
Was yours rubber or was yours like the copper?
No, mine was rubber. Copper's for like the Arnold Palmers of the world, I think. That's who they were targeting.
Mine was rubber too.
I had a copper one, and I think within like 3 days my arm was green, so out the window that went.
Medics. Oh yeah, that's what it was called. Drums, eh? Medicus.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were on the info.
The Medicus also makes those heavy ones with the big grip on them. big
Yeah.
yellow shaft. They're freaking.
Yeah,
nice.
like the interlock thing on it.
Yeah.
The Q-ray.
Q-ray.
Yeah, that's right.
Reggie,
My dad bought these self-help movie set one time. I gotta see if I can track it down because it was like so bad. I remember I was like 14, 15 at the time, and Dad's like, "Okay, you gotta watch these. These are amazing." And like the first one, I'm like, "This is all shit that I've known for 10 years. Like, how do you not know this?"
what is
Like,
it?
it was just
What
like
was it?
I can't remember how it was, but it was so dumb. It was like eight videos, and finally on the eighth video, he was like revealing his secret to his swing, and it was just that he rotated his club head at time of impact, so he had it like as a little baseball bat. And I go, okay,
So they were
this
golf
cost us
instructions,
$400. Yeah,
like a box
$400.
set, box set of VHSs.
yeah.
That was before YouTube. Imagine life without YouTube now, eh? Crazy.
Unbelievable.
What do you got, Reggie?
Rossco, what's your favorite golf memory?
Favorite golf memory. Well, I do have an ace. It's at Deer Ridge with witnesses, which is great. The twosome in front of us, and I was playing with actually one of my crew members at the time, Cody Allen. That was pretty cool. I mean, I got to go out and play the falls in Vancouver with my mom riding along. That was pretty cool. Yeah. I don't know. Like anytime that you like, I won the Ridge Bowl last year. That was an awesome experience overall. Just being with the guys, and I ran so hot that weekend where like I was medalist. I won the horse race. I won every pool game for money. I won poker that night. Then the next day we go out. I won my first match, and then I played Doc, like David in the final. And I had to make a 15-foot slider down the hill to tie with Bird, and I did. And then I won 2 playoff holes later. That was pretty cool. Memories with Colbs, obviously this year, playing a lot of team golf. The Western was a big one for sure. Playing in my second USGA event down in Minnesota just last week was an awesome experience too. So anytime that you can get on the golf course with buddies or with family or whatever is always a good time.
Yeah, or if you're on the winning side of a competitive one too. Hey,
True.
you got to be an American citizen to play in those?
No, we were actually the only Canadian team. But yeah, no, you don't. You just have to have a certain handicap. I think
Index.
anything more than a 2.7, I think, is not allowed. Just to kind of keep pace of play and all that kind of stuff.
That makes sense. But Monday, Q gave us a good tip. He said if you're not that handicap, you can actually sign up as a pro because pros don't have handicaps. So cheat code.
Yeah, cheat code.
How wild was that?
130.
What's your favorite app on your phone?
Right now, it's probably Instagram, to be honest. Like I've never been a social media guy, and so obviously need one for the business. So to be able to kind of sift through job applications, and I've had a ton of people reach out on there is awesome. Candy Crush is probably my most used. I'm not a huge games guy. I have one game, it's Candy Crush, and like I'm on like level 4,500 or something like that. So stimulates the mind and lets me, decompress. So yeah, probably Candy Crush.
You have to have something like that, hey? Candy Crush is super addicting.
It is, yeah.
I never got into phone games.
I was going to say, Trisha said Grain Dead. Is that a new app I've never heard of? But she or he or don't want to say what, but
Grinder. Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody in the chat, if you're listening to this live, what's your favorite app? Because I'm always curious for new ones, whether it's golf, whether it's Drake's in the chat. He likes that 18 birdies. Rossco, you're on there too. I think we're going to fire that up next year for the anywhere tour, but it looks pretty good. Every time I've golfed with Drake, I'm very impressed with that app. So
Yeah, like some of the court, like Clear Lake, their overhead on holes and stuff is from the winter, so like holes are covered in snow.
Yeah.
So like you can't see bunkers or anything like that. So like little improvements, I think are needed, and
over time it'll come though, eh?
for sure, yeah, it's certainly getting more popular. And anytime that like Kolb's has emailed 18 birdies to be like, hey, like our course is actually this long from the blacks or whatever, like they make the change pretty much instantly. So
pretty important. Drake said he's in contact with them right now. Yeah, I mean, Drake and I were actually talking about that yesterday. I said, 3 years ago, it's so crazy how things have changed pretty much in all aspects of life. But 3 years ago, or even 2 years ago, I was like, we were even talking about on this podcast, like, why is there not an app where you can play any game, you can set it up, you can automatically distribute, blah, blah, blah. We're kind of at the in-between stage right now where you can set all that up. There's no like automatic payments that come out yet, but I think that'll be kind of the next step in the progression of things. But now there's like 50 apps all of a sudden. There was 0 before. Now there's like 50 of them. So it's good to see. We're heading the right direction. We'll do one more each, and then we'll wrap things up for the night. What's your favorite golf book? It could be either fiction or like an instructional one, or really anything.
yeah, I have Play Like Tiger sitting up there on the shelf over here. My first, I guess, kind of legitimate golf book that I read is Golf Is Not a Game of Perfect. Has to deal with, not every round is going to go the way that you want. Not every shot is going to, go the way that you want, but, to continue to try and put effort in, and, law of averages will come out, on your end. And, that's the only kind of full golf specific book that I've read. I have one kind of on the go right now as well, and it has to deal with more of the mental side, which I think at times I'm a mental midget, so hopefully will help me out. But it's that's probably, like, Golf Is Not a Game of Perfect, I think is up there for sure.
Have you read Zen Golf?
No, I have not.
No. Actually, I was going to mention it when you were talking about Tamarack there, or Grail, whatever it was, on 8, flying the highway.
Yes.
And I was just listening to it last night, actually, and he was talking about how mad people get when either they hit it too far, like they fly it or whatever it is. But I mean, you can't get too mad at yourself because you hit it too good. That's the issue there, right? So if you kind of shift the focus to that mid round, I know it's hard to do in that moment, but I mean, even in that, if you hit a 5-wood over the highway, like that's most guys would be proud of that, but just in the moment, it's like, what?
Yeah, and that's actually the one that I have on my nightstand, and like how negative thoughts are like clouds. Like I think I've said that on this pod, in the chat, right, where they're there, and you don't necessarily have to welcome them, right? But they come and go, and just accept the fact that they're going to happen and move on, right? So
yeah, observe them and let them keep going.
Exactly.
Chez says favorite app is Windfinder. Never heard of that. Have you guys?
I have Windfinder. You pay the $27 for a weather app. It's worth it.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't bring it up here.
How is it worth it? Like what?
Like it'll give you, I mean, I'm sure Chez can speak to this, like wind all throughout the day on an hourly basis, weather patterns, humidity, like the whole 9 yards. For me to, open a business that's, outdoors, it was very important to me not to just go off of, the Apple suggested weather app, to get something a little bit more concrete. And it's known, it's known to be kind of the number one,
the best there is.
So yeah.
We did favorite book. What's the favorite golf movie?
It's got to be Happy Gilmore. It's Happy Gilmore or it's Tin Cup. Like if you want the comedy side, it's Happy Gilmore. If you want the more kind of human, human side, it's got to be Tin Cup.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Both I've watched a million times. Could probably recite the whole movie to you.
Where do you stand on Bagger Vance?
You know what? I don't know. I'm indifferent. It's not going to be. If I see Happy Gilmore, Tin Cup, and Bagger Vance on Netflix, I'm not watching Bagger Vance. I'll put it that way.
Tin
What about
Cup's
the
so
greatest
hard to
game ever
find.
played?
The greatest game I ever played. I actually just recently watched that, like
Underrated.
three weeks ago. It was pretty good. Based on a true story, was it not? Right?
Yeah, Francis Ouimet.
Yeah. No.
The worst part is that little kid in there. Yeah, I could have done without him.
Yeah.
Really? Like he's my
Yeah.
favorite part.
Get out
Little
of there.
chub walking along. Kind of a cute little bugger.
Yeah, do you guys have suggestions on where to watch Tin Cup? I've been trying to find it for like 3 years. I need to just go buy a DVD or on eBay or something.
I got the DVD copy. Anytime you want to borrow it, you let me know.
I might have the VHS actually. I just don't have anything to play it on.
It's on TV all the time. You just got to find it and record it. And then
It's always on the Golf Channel, eh?
Yeah.
Don't have
They
TV.
play it on there.
Oh, is it on Golf Channel?
A lot.
Okay, well that's good to know.
Speaking of that, what's the best major to you?
It has to be the Masters. Hands down. I get the most psyched for it. It's the same golf course in the rotation every single year. And not to say that, the other three aren't great, because they are. Number two would be the Open for sure. Just because of the television times, and you get to stay up all night watching golf if TSN actually shows it. And then, I've always loved watching carnage as far as golf is concerned. Like US Open is up there, right? Like it makes you, it makes you laugh and be like, oh, I hit a shot like that, right? Just the absolute grind of, when they don't miss or when they don't hit the fairway, just having to come out sideways or hit terrible shots, Phil putting the ball before it stops moving, stuff like that.
Hit a
right?
putt while it's moving.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I think if they could find a way to eliminate commercials at the US Open, I think the US Open could be like unique in the sense that if they found a sponsor where they could just eliminate commercials, and they didn't only show the good shots and like the guys near the lead making the really terrible shots, and they just showed like some really wild coverage of shit like that happening like the whole day. I think
or even have a miss list or something, right? Where you compile, like I remember when Harold Varner III was in contention at Riviera, there's a drivable 4 and he topped his ball off the tee. Like they didn't show it. And it's incredible, right? Like commercials, I think in general are a problem with the golf coverage. And I think that's why no one really watches it, right? Unless you're a diehard. So the Masters got it figured out. They got the best app. They got the best coverage.
Everything.
Yeah. It's, you can go there and have a beer for $3 or a sandwich for $2.50 or whatever. It's just, it's incredible.
Do you think if the Masters wasn't the first major of the year, the gap is closer between it and the Open? Because we wait for it, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's always kind of circled on your calendar, right? Like first major. I mean, like once golf gets going, like in the swing season, like they are right now, right? Like you're always looking at world rankings and who's in the Masters and the storylines all around it. But yeah, if the Open was first, it could very well be up there for sure. Just tradition, right? Like tradition is huge, and I think that's why I like Augusta so much, is because of that.
Yeah,
I noticed you didn't mention the PGA Championship. Is there a reason for this?
Yeah,
it does not to a major. I think they got a turf.
Yeah, you know what? Like I'd rather have the players in there as the fourth major, to be honest. Unless they're setting it up a little bit more difficult, like they have the last couple of years, right? Where the course is tough. It plays more like the U.S. Open. I don't like to see minus 24 winning a major. Like I'm not really down for that. So
agreed. Cam said Ryder Cup or President's Cup.
Ryder Cup probably, and it's nothing against Canada and the President's Cup. Ryder Cup is always kind of the most hyped. It's got typically better coverage. I think overall the talent's a little bit better too. Like from the Europe side of things, like the U.S. team is always going to be the U.S. team. It's always going to be somewhat of a juggernaut on home soil only, apparently. But the Europe side of things, I think is cool, especially with the young guns. Like Victor. You got Rombo, obviously Rory, Højgaard. Played a big role this year. You got that Aberg kid who, almost won last week. Yeah, I like
Stay hot.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like the gap's closed quite a bit though, compared to where it was. Like it almost used to just kind of be a joke.
Just how
like the President's Cup needs to field like the international side needs to field a team that is competitive, right? Like the reason why it's probably not as popular is because it's a route. And
it
now
it's getting
like
closer though.
Yeah, like now you have, like you got the Aussies, you got the South Koreans like Siwoo and Tom Kim, right? Like I think they're slowly. I think Immelman did a good job this past one of really changing the culture and rostering the younger guys that are probably more competitive, more familiar with team golf, and want to play well for their country.
Yeah. Okay, well, Rossco, I actually forgot to mention this earlier, but we were chatting about a little contest that King is going to run with Shanks. And so if you're watching this at this point, either live or otherwise, you're going to have a nice little advantage for it. So we're going to do something pretty cool. I mean, the Shanks brand itself is set up for viral videos, funny stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our portal. I'm actually gonna do this time. I'm gonna put a link in the comments below here on YouTube and hopefully on I'll send it to Drums to put on the podcast as well if you're listening to this later. But basically what you can do there is you can click the link. It'll take you to an upload screen. And if you got any sort of videos, whether they're funny, good shots, Shanks, especially if you got any Shanks, that's kind of what we're looking for sure. But you can upload it directly. You just have to put in your email address, your name. You can put like kind of a backstory in the description there, and then you just upload it. And what we're going to do is every week up until Shank opens up, we're going to have a contest. Reggie, Ross, Drums, and I are going to pick a winner every week, and we're going to put it on King Golf account, probably Shanks as well. We're going to put it on the podcast every week as like a segment sponsored by Shanks. You're going to win. That's kind of the main thing is you get quite a few people seeing your video, but you're going to get a King Golf hat or an undershirt or a hoodie or something as well every week. And then at the end of it, we're going to have like a voting contest. So say there's 8 videos, we're going to put it on Twitter and we're going to have like a vote for the best video. And Shanks is going to have the grand prize, which is...
Yeah, we were talking earlier, just kind of talking out loud, right? Would love to have the winner, round up a few buddies, guys or girls, 6 to 8, come free golf on me for 3 hours, and we'll get you a deal on food and drinks. And if you're from Brandon, pick you up and drop you off. So, yeah, trying to normalize the word Shank. It's really not that dirty. And if you come and watch me on the third tee box almost regularly, I'll put one in the river. So
I'm too.
That's par 3.
I know how you feel.
Yeah, par 3.
I always just think about it, and then it just comes to fruition. So
yeah, that's
weird
the worst
how that
part
happens,
about golf.
Yeah.
So just to reiterate that, so we got a contest from now until first week of December. You can click the link in the description below. We'll post it on Instagram too. Actually, we just wanted to kind of get it out there for the podcast and the YouTube and the Rumble listeners for the first week only. And so for the first week, you're going to have a smaller pool. to be picked out of. So after that, we're going to kind of post it on Instagram. It's going to be more spread out, but you can upload your best golf videos. There's really no maximum. Don't just do stupid shit because we'll have to go through them and delete them. But any funny videos, good shots, Shanks especially. We're going to have a winner every week on the podcast. Your video is going to be shown on the podcast and on the two accounts, and then we're going to have a grand prize for the best video at the end of it, and everybody's going to vote on it. So and one more thing, if you do have any Shank specific videos where it's a Shank on film, you're automatically going to get shown on the King Golf account, and probably Shanks as well. So
yeah, everyone's got to send me their stuff because I need to start posting some good stuff. So
yeah.
As it might be better suited, Jor, to have this, obviously the timeline and everything, but for the spring to have them come and actually be able to,
sure,
be more comfortable. And that way operations are top notch, and you get the whole kind of ambiance and all that kind of stuff. So
for the winners or for the winner.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So there you go. You heard it here first. The podcast, the YouTube, and the Rumble you're going to have up until next week. Next Wednesday night, you're going to have a small pool for a chance to be on the Kingdom, on the accounts, and get a free piece of King Golf apparel. So there you have it. We're almost at 2 hours. I think this is the longest episode ever. It's been great though. It's always good to talk golf, especially with a good buddy. You're doing a lot of great things, Rossco. I mean, we talk all the time, so I don't need to say too much on here, but we appreciate you being on here for everything that you're doing right now. And I can't wait to see how things go. And I can't wait to hit the first ball at Shanks. Not the first ever, but my first ball at Shanks.
Right on. I appreciate that, guys. And thank you for giving me the platform and, a little bit extra for me to, come on and tell my side of the story and grow the brand. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, buddy. Of course.
Absolutely. Congrats again, buddy. Thanks for coming. Proud of you. We'll catch you out there.
Absolutely.
I can't wait. I'll be coming in opening weekend.
I got a bed for you. So.
Yeah. Okay, Jeremy, take us out of your.
All right, just hang on. Oh. Cockerel tees off in 4 hours in Madrid. Looks a little nicer in Madrid than it did in
Dunhill.
In the Dunhill last weekend. It actually got rained out, so that was absolute shit show. Hey,
yeah, it looked awful.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Those videos of Carnoustie looked like Wheat City in those couple of years
in 2014. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're out of here. Everybody follow along with AC for the weekend. Cheer them on. And again, thanks Rossco for coming on, giving us the rundown on Shanks. Everybody's looking forward to being there. Peace out, everybody. Love you, boys. Later.
See you, fellas.
Love you, fellas. See you next week.
See you, boys.